probably less grocery stores total.
Well, one of the things that Philadelphia has gained notoriety for, let me talk about two issues there. First of all, their mayor in New York's trying to do something, you know, on the adult level with the sodas. So he's saying, gosh, nobody needs more than 16 ounces of soda. So that was shot down because of I think one of the amendments, and I forget which one it was, but they were not allowed to instill that rule or law. So he's got an idea that we can change behavior by changing the environment, and there are people in my field who feel that way. However, in Philadelphia, what we're noted for nationally in our field is that about 10 to 15 years ago, you probably are aware of the Food Trust here in Philadelphia. Did you come across that in one of your resources? The Food Trust, who's a really amazing organization, but they're mostly a think tank and research people who are PhDs in nutrition and social sciences, and they felt that the data was showing that school lunch mattered. What children had access to in schools mattered in their weight. And so first they showed that, and then secondly, they got a lot of money from the government to test out their theories, and they started changing food types in the Philadelphia schools. And so they did that throughout like the 2000s until about 2010, and then by changing food access and making a lot of healthier food available to students, they showed a drop in the obesity rate in children in Philadelphia.
And was it just for public schools, or was it private schools and Catholic schools, and was it grade schools and high schools, or?
It was just public schools that I am aware of, and I do not believe it was high schools. I believe it was through middle school. Do you know?
I believe it was through middle school.
Through middle school, yeah. So we have national notoriety for that. However, it is a money issue. So we are, one of our colleagues is second in charge of the Philadelphia School District food systems. And while we have this new law about making these changes, there's also a very big money pinch right now in public schools. So if you look at to get back to your New York question, if you look there's a couple schools in New York, you may have come across them, where the chef comes in, do all the changes, you know, they make fresh food and everybody will eat it. It has been my experience when I teach in schools that children are more than happy to eat new recipes with lots of vegetables and fruits. I have never had a problem with that, and the last time I taught that was to all boys in middle school. And they ate up everything we made. It was all made with beans and vegetables and everything. So it comes down to two things. First of all, doing that is more expensive, and so school systems need to be able to sustain it. And even the Philadelphia school system right now, it's unclear if they're going to be able to sustain some of the changes because of the cost. And the second thing is when children go home, it has to happen in the family to sustain it as well. And in our field, I feel there's little research on really what happens there. There's some things that go on in regard to, there is some data that we've got 2 working parents now, and there's a lot more difficulty with that model of getting a meal on the table and getting food available. So hence the wanting to grab food that's more easily prepared as opposed to just making something. We also have some data that cooking skills are going by the wayside. How many of you had home ec? Anybody? Who had home ec? There's not a single hand in this room. Do you find that startling? Who knows how to cook in this room? Okay, most of you.
What's the definition of cook?
There you go. Who can make a meal from scratch?
Depends on the meal.
Scratch.
Yeah.
What do you mean depends on the meal?
My hands have raised.
Like I could grill chicken and like cook pasta.
Okay. Okay, so could you eat chicken and pasta every night?
Probably, but I don't like it.
Okay, so we really haven't, you guys are at the age, we haven't done that for you in our school systems, have we? To create, you say, could I create a whole meal, right? No. I mean, I think the answer would be no, I'm not putting you on the spot.
You're
But,
right.
but without that ability, how are we gonna get people to do this? Think about it. It's not just about, like, it's about all these social systems feeding into, you know, food and nutrition and understanding that and having people be able to manipulate food. And I will leave that to you, because you're a chef. And, like, right, what do you, and you're closer to their age, so what are you seeing out there?
Yeah, I before I went to culinary school, honestly, I couldn't cook anything. I was actually scared of knives. So going into culinary school, don't ask me what brought me there, but it was one of the best things I've done, because I learned so many things, and just how to make like a rice pilaf, things like that, make vegetables in different ways. You don't have to steam them every night. Just having that variety makes it fun to cook. But I wanted to mention something about your question as well. Just, you mentioned that New York City does not have many grocery stores, but they have a less obesity rate. Well, just in what we were finding when we were walking around and exploring the grocery stores just in the zip code here, it seemed as though Fresh Grocer was more of just another corner store. And it wasn't something that people were coming to do their bulk shopping. Like I said, they were coming in and maybe getting 2 apples and maybe like whatever was on sale that week, just a few things. In the carts, there wasn't much. So providing that big grocery store might not be the underlying issue to all of this, and that's what we need to figure out, is why providing this huge access to everything you could want, why isn't it working? Why isn't there a less obesity rate here?
Yeah, and I remember we talked to Tom Winter across the hall, and I actually had a quote from him. I wrote a story about it, and he said access to food alone is not enough.
Yeah,
So,
you can't have access without affordability is another big issue, and to decide whether or not affordability is even the issue would be the next step
so
after
it's
figuring
kind
it
of
out.
like showing them they have access, but it's like the second step is like teaching them how to access it. Like, you can really push the water, but you can't make it drink.
Exactly. And some of the ideas around that are, well, what if we provided that link between showing them what to do with the vegetables, showing them how to cook the vegetables, and how to reuse the fruits in salads and parfaits and things like that. Will that lead to increase in consumption as well as a lower obesity rate? So those are all the questions that we've been asking ourselves.
Yeah, and think on the policy level, guys. Have you ever seen fruits and vegetables advertised on television? Think about it.
Corn salad.
Corn syrup, yeah. I saw oranges, I almost jumped out of my seat.
Oh,
That was the first time I ever saw that, though. So they must have some kind of advertising budget. But think about it. Never do we see fruits and vegetables advertised, right? What do we see advertised? What? Soda, candy, chips, cereal. What's that? Fast food. Right. So the issue of can you bring a horse to water, you can't make them drink. Well, what's in the water? It's not just. I mean, I just want you to make sure that you keep an open mind. It's not just people who don't want to do this or are lazy or don't have enough money. There's a whole culture that's working against it, and you've got to think about both of those pieces, I think. Yeah.
Do you have any idea what sort of policies could be put in place to make nutritionally dense food cheaper?
Actually, we just went to the SHARE organization down in Philly. I'm not sure exactly where it is, but it's a great organization that's open to anyone. And what they do there is provide packages of food for a reduced cost. You basically get it at the Whole Foods costs, like what they would pay for it. They buy from farmers. All of their fresh produce is local, and they will sell it to you for that cost. The only thing they ask in return is that you volunteer 2 hours a month. And any of you guys could go down there as well and pick up a big basket of fruits and vegetables for $10. So it's things like that. I think it's an amazing organization, and if we got more of that, which kind of cuts out that middleman and gets it directly from the producer, and that can cut down costs and still provide you with the nutrient dense foods that you need. I think it was a great organization, so. Yeah. What's that called again? Share.
It's on Hunting Park Avenue, I think, and just off of Henry. It's like 10 minutes from here, sort of off the lower Germantown area, but yeah, Dana's absolutely right. We could do more of that, and it's perhaps I think that if you watch the government rhetoric, we're not going to see government getting more involved in this, because I don't think that that's going to go over. And I also do think that the food companies are very strong lobbyists. But I think what Dana mentioned here, this grassroots level, we have amazing organizations in Philadelphia that are doing some of cutting edge work here, and this share is just such a fabulous idea. You guys might work to get that word out for them that this is available, $10, basket of fruit, vegetables.
Or even utilize it
Anybody,
yourselves.
anybody, yeah, we can do this. They want everybody doing this, and it's a grassroots effort.
It's really about getting nutrition to the community,
Yep.
no matter who you are, what your income is. That's their goal. It's really amazing.